So, educating our students not only happens during the school year, but the summer as well. And the nonprofit New York Edge has found a way to make summer learning fun and inspiring. Here with more is CEO Rachel Gazdick. Rachel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Antoine. Thanks
So,
for having me.
tell us about the program. When did you get started?
New York Edge started 30 years ago. We're the largest provider of after school and summer camps in New York City. We serve about 30,000 students. And this summer we have 10,000 kids in summer camps through all five boroughs of New York City.
10,000 kids.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of youngins.
It sure is.
Let's
Yes.
talk about your role in summer rising. We know that's so important to New York City kids, but
Yep.
you all have a major role in that as well. Tell us about that, Rachel.
Yeah, it's really critical for us to partner with the school district and the teachers. So the young people are in summer rising in the morning, and then they go to enrichment programming in the afternoon with New York Edge. So it's everywhere from sports to arts to academics, STEM. We have a book publishing company, and so this is a book that fourth and fifth graders wrote. So we'll have another series, and it's sold on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But the important part of this is that kids work with authors and people who've illustrated at Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're thinking about summer camp, we're thinking about fun, but also increasing academic achievement. And
Hold it up for 1 second so Iris can be sure to get a shot of it. I just want to ask you, it's called the Magical Bakery. So now, what's that about, aside from the obvious?
Yeah, so the Magical Bakery is about a grandmom who's too old to ride a roller coaster. So the stories that the kids created was she makes cupcakes, and when she hands them out, other people get older, like kids become teenagers, and she gets younger. But then as the story goes on, she handed out too many cupcakes, and now she's too small to ride the roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
But the kids go through that creative process, and then they do the illustration. They work with professional illustrators to create the book, and so it really is a way for kids to learn how to think about writing, reading, and then produce a final product that they share, that we have book talks for and so forth.
So let me ask you, what other initiatives do you have? I mean, that was great.
Yeah.
Just tell us about some of the other things that you're offering our children.
Yeah, so I co-host a podcast called Formative with middle schoolers. So we have we recorded season 1. So this summer in our middle school camps, students will come on. They do our podcast curriculum in their sites, and then they interview like astronauts. They interviewed the chief medical officer, the NCAA, Emmy award-winning playwrights. And so it's an opportunity for them to see themselves in the folks that they're interviewing. And it turned out the way I had hoped. And the way I had hoped was that I wouldn't lead the show, that they would lead the show. So pretty much they're asking the questions, and so they can be the next podcaster. They could be you.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to see in kids, so that we're developing them in ways that they can see their future, because you don't know what you could be until somebody exposes you to that. So Formative really is a story about, we had a civil rights activist on, everybody telling their story and how they became who they are today, because kids often see the end, but they don't understand the whole process and what it took to become, an artist or a broadcaster or so forth.
And it's so easy to get lost in the middle.
Yeah.
Certainly a number of our colleagues have experienced that, on our own trajectory. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that one. What are their needs, if you are? They're coming off of a fractured school term for the last year and a half, between remote, and back in and classroom sizes and all of that. But what would you say is their most immediate need right now? Is it support? Is it mental health support? Is it just being out? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what do you think? What is the most critical need?
The first thing I say is that kids, no matter what, just need to experience joy, and they need to experience joy in whatever they're engaged in. So, for example, our kids just performed with 3-time Grammy-nominated Alphabet Rockers at our gala. And it was joy for them to meet those folks. It was joy to be out there and dancing on stage again. And so just that overall feeling that we're sort of back, I think is really critical for the kids, whether it's dancing, whether it's sports, whether it's academics, whatever it is, that they're just having a good time and they're with their peers again and getting that energy back. I think for us as adults, too, it's been hard, right? It's been hard to shift. kids are a little more resilient. I think mental health has always been an issue that we should have addressed, that we should always be addressing, not just
Absolutely.
because of the pandemic. And so I think that's really critical as well.
What about the parents and caregivers? You make them all a part of this process as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. We have parents on our board at New York Edge, and we have parent advocates in each of our buildings, and their voice is really critical. And when we focus with our students, voice and choice is also very critical. So what kids really want to, they know what they love, and we want to cultivate those talents for them.
We also want to point out that all of these programs are free.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is huge. We all like free.
And they should be. School day ends at 3 every day, and parents are still at work. And for summer camp, it's the best time of the year for kids to go out, and it's the best time for us because we get some of our camps are open from 8 to 6 o'clock at night, but some are open later to about 10 if kids live in transitional housing.
To accommodate parent schedules or caregiver schedules. Absolutely makes sense.
And be able to offer food and meals. That was a big thing during the pandemic, too, because a lot of kids got all of their meals at our programs. So it's all around, it's great that we're back.
It's great to know that we still have New Yorkers taking care of New Yorkers, especially our most vulnerable, our young people, and stuff. So very nice to meet you today, Rachel.
You too.
Anyone looking for more information, please share your website.
Yeah, you could go to newyorkedge.org, and we would love to have corporations be a part of our program, volunteers. Our kids also do speed mentoring, I should say, with Microsoft. They've done it with Braze, IBM, major companies across the city. So that's one way folks can get involved, and kids also, signing up in their neighborhoods. But there's just volunteers. There's just a lot that I think as a city we could come together and wrap our arms around our children really deep and meaningful ways.
This podcast has me interested. So if any of the kids are interested in a mass communications track, liberal arts, you reach right out to me. I will be more than happy, to help out in that capacity.
Oh, thank you so much.
And we're also saying it so everyone is hearing this in the tri-states as well, right?
Yeah.
Rachel, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, Antoine.